Hey, welcome to your day off. My name is Corey, and of course, sitting my best. Well, actually, I'm not. So I'm sitting. I'm at BarberCon 2019 in Brooklyn, New York, and we're actually sitting at the Schedulicity Lounge, I think is what they call it. And because Tony couldn't make it this weekend, I recruited a co-host. And our co-host today is Mr. Matty Conrad. Mr. Matty Conrad, thank you for co-hosting with us, brother.
Hey, man. Thanks a lot for having me. I'm having a great time. This is a great event, but, man, it's always fun. I mean, I can't always say this, but I had such an amazing time talking to you and Tony on the podcast. I've just been dying to get a chance to do this again, so...
Thanks for having me. Man. Yeah, thanks for jumping in with us. So again, we're at BarberCon in Brooklyn. So if you hear any noise or whatever, that's what it is. There's definitely we're in the middle of the floor. So
all those rowdy barbers everywhere.
All those rowdy barbers. Yeah. Good thing it's early in the afternoon and not late at night. It might get a little rowdier.
Oh yeah, just more incoherent, I think, as the night goes on.
I think that's it. Exactly. So this is pretty cool. So today we're talking to a barber, another barber. Imagine that. Imagine a barber at BarberCon. Right?
I've never even seen one. Real close up like this. So.
Not like this, man. So we're talking to a barber here at BarberCon. He's got like 4,000 AKAs, so we'll let him get into it. But we're gonna call him Barry B, and his Instagram handle is The Stars Barber. So you can reach him at The Stars Barber. So Barry B, man, welcome to your day off.
Yo, what's up?
You, man, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me here. It's been a long time.
I know we've been playing the old DM tag, right?
Yes, sir.
Corbin sliding into your DMs again. Oh,
yeah, man. Everybody.
That's how he got me. Stuff, though. He's charming as hell. That's how he got me.
That's how he got Matty. Then we kept poking him.
All those waves are so annoying. Yeah. Waves. Who waves at people anymore?
Who does do that anyway?
Somebody's still doing it.
You're so getting one. You know that, right? You are too, Barry B.
Yeah. Somebody's still doing it.
Oh, classic.
That's awesome, man. So, Bear, kind of where are you from? Tell us that little bit of your story.
I am from Akron, Ohio, a.k.a. the home of LeBron James, King James, and just great people. Halle Berry, great people come out of
What's
Ohio.
Halle Berry's from there?
For real?
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Arsenio Hall's from Ohio.
Akron, Ohio. What are they putting in the water in Akron, Ohio?
I know, right?
I don't know. We phenomenal people. I don't know. I don't know.
It works though, man.
Yeah, definitely, man.
It works. So you're not in Akron now, though, right?
No, I'm in Dallas, where they do everything big. Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, right.
Dallas Cowboys. I have a love-hate relationship with them.
Why is that?
Because they make some dumb moves sometimes.
Next on Sports Chat, we're going to interview Barry B to find out where he would go wrong with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, but on some real, I like the Cowboys though, and I like of course I like the Mavericks too, like the Rangers. Man, it's all love.
Yeah, I love Dallas. You've been to Dallas, Corey?
I've never been to Dallas. Well, that's a lie. I drove through Dallas. Literally drove through it.
I got to tell you, man, the people there are incredible. All right, I did a show there a couple of weeks ago, and honestly, just the love from the crowd was overwhelming, man. What an unbelievable place. And beautiful city, all the public art and everything, man. I love Dallas. I love it down there.
Super big, too.
So why did you move to Dallas from Akron, Ohio? How did that happen?
So I lived in Akron, and at that time, I was going through a really bad divorce. And kind of had just lost everything. So my sister had moved to Atlanta when she graduated from Kent State. So I'm sitting around with her one day drinking. She's like, hey, you're not doing shit. Why don't you move down here to Atlanta with us? So I looked around and all my belongings in trash bags. I said, hey, why not?
Good thing they were in a hard case. You would have left, right?
Yeah, so put them in my bag about a month, 2 months later, put everything I had, put it in my car, and I moved to Atlanta. And this is going to sound weird, but this is a true story. Mm-hmm. So when I got down there, I just you know what? I think I like to cut on some celebrities or something. So I went to Facebook. Everybody I knew that was a celebrity there, I private messaged them.
Yeah, sure.
And the first person to hit me back was a guy named Quintus Parker from 112. They used to be signed to P. Diddy's label.
Yeah, I know 112.
So I started cutting him, and then after him, I started cutting another guy. And so what I found myself doing, I was in and out of studios cutting hair. So one day,
music industry mostly.
Yeah. So one day I'm in the studio cutting hair for a guy named Kevin Wells, and I seen this real pretty lady in there. And I usually don't hit on women while I'm at work, but she started talking to me, and
so she was hitting on you.
Kinda. You know, it was kind of like you ever seen somebody and it's like you lock eyes or you just see somebody you be like, I want her.
I call her my girlfriend right now.
Yeah. So she was down there. Her daughter was into music. We got to talking, and she ended up being my wife. So that's how I met my wife. Yeah. So.
And that's the wife we met.
Yeah. Don't get me hurt.
Not the fifth one.
Don't get me hurt. So it was kind of like, you know, she was just like, man, you do really great work. She was like, I think if you move to Dallas, she's like, I really think you would stand out. And that was the best move I ever made.
Well, why didn't you think you could stand out in Atlanta?
Man, Atlanta is so many exceptional, and I use that word, exceptional, stylists, hairstylists, barbers. Like, what I learned from living there, I learned how to really be a go-getter, how to really be hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like Dallas, everyone's so laid back. It's the South, so everybody's really laid back. But there in Atlanta, you got a lot of transplants. It was like a lot of people too there from like DC, New York.
Right.
And those guys are go-getters. They're hustlers. Not hustlers, but hustlers.
Hustlers, right?
You know what I'm saying?
AS changes the entire thing.
Yeah.
So, it means a different thing.
So it was kind of like being around that element. You pick that up because it's either you either gonna go out here and get it and eat, or you gonna starve.
Mm-hmm.
So I just came to Dallas and I just brought that mentality, and it really paid off well.
Mm-hmm.
It paid off well. I think like the first week I had business cards. And we were at grocery store, and I told my wife, hey, I'm going to holler at you. I'll be right back. I'm around the Kroger. I'm just handing out cards. You know,
awesome.
Like I came down like ready to make moves. I came down there ready to make moves.
I'd say what you're talking about right now is, I think, something that a lot of people now refer to as the hustle. You know what I mean? Like the grind. You know, like this is the hustle, and this is the hustle. And I've always understood the hustle to be just that. You know, when I started out very similarly, when it was like trying to get, you know, clients in my chair, trying to feed myself, you know. And I see kids today posting away on Instagram, tagging, you know, can't knock the hustle and all these kinds of things. But really what I see them hustling is just kind of posting a lot on Instagram. You know, I mean, how do you feel about that when you come from like a real solid grind? Like, I mean, the moves that you were making, the cards handing out, shaking hands, making relationships. How do you reconcile that to like new people coming in and seeing what the hustle is now versus what the hustle was then?
Well, you know, all of us are from that era of shaking hands and looking a person in the eye. You know, there was times that you do that and you may not have a picture of your body of work, but because that person seen that hunger in you, they took a shot on you. So I like the Instagram, I like the social media hustle too, but at the same time, you gotta have a follow-up game with that. So what happens when that guy calls you and you're in there?
Right.
How do you sell yourself? You know, because that's really what we do. We really sell ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what we're doing. And I think a lot of what's going on now is a lot of people are just really lazy. They're really lazy. They just...
I mean, yeah, if you want to call it what it is, yeah.
They're really lazy. Like, they'll come into the shop and they'll just sit all day and just wait for people to come to the door or post a couple things on Instagram and think that's going to do it. I think everything is kind of like... It's like cooking. It's different ingredients when you cook.
Right.
You know? Too much pepper ain't too good. Too much curry ain't too good.
Yeah.
So you gotta do everything. So yeah, social media stuff is really important. But if I'm in a shop and if I'm a new barber and say we're near a shopping center, I'm gonna grab my stack of cards and I'm gonna go out in the parking lot and I'm gonna canvas and introduce myself to people.
Let's take it back to when you were a new barber. You know, I mean, new barber start. Like, what got you into barbering in the first place? Like, why did you get in? Why did you pick up your first pair of clippers?
It was kind of like I had these parents that just felt like they should be able to cut your hair.
I had that parent. I had that mom.
Am I allowed to, like, I don't want to use curse words.
Whatever you want to. It's your hour,
but
bro.
my parents used to fuck our hair up, man. Like it was bad, man. And I don't know. I just got real bold one day, and I told my mom, like, I could do a better job than you.
Were you talking smack, or you knew it?
I just knew it. I mean, you know, I would go into the barbershop, and I just always loved that element of the camaraderie and how the barbers would sit there and talk shit and cut hair. And
Right.
And I don't know, I just loved it. So my mom would just jerk us, and she would just do us bad. So if you move, she would cut all your hair off. And this was during that era when the bald head wasn't cool. And you go to school and they're smacking your head all day, and then I gotta fight a person and shit, you know. You know, I was a little scrappy guy. I wasn't gonna take too many smacks, you know what I mean? So it was kind of like I told my mom, I think I could do a better job. So my younger brother and me, we're complete opposites. I'm like the pretty boy. I got to look good. My brother don't give a damn.
Right.
So, you know, my mom just like, here, she had that one pair of clippers with the slit in the cord that you get from the grocery store.
Yeah.
That got the short and you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I had to grab the duct tape. I was a MacGyver. I grabbed that duct tape, taped it. I knew just how to hold it, you know, so it was all good. My brother, we would do it, and I'd be like, let me do this Bobby Brown haircut on you. He'd be like, I don't care. So, you know what I mean? I would look at the haircut, and in my mind...
Are we talking like 1990s My Prerogative Bobby Brown? Or are we talking
89,
like...
baby. I'm talking
shit,
89.
like old school, like up
yeah,
top.
that's
big-
that
high
Gumby
rise.
with the slope, with the 3 parts on the side.
Shit.
Yeah. So...
And how old were you at the time?
Oh my gosh, at that time, I had to be about 15. I was 15, 16 when I first picked up some clippers. So that...
So how'd the side Gumby look?
Well, the first couple times it was fucked up. it was. I mean, but you know, it was kind of like learning how to transition into that.
Yeah.
I've always been an artist, so I've always been able to see something and see it in my head and then paint the picture.
Right.
And that's the same thing with barbering. You see that haircut before the actual haircut.
Yep.
But a lot of times getting and transitioning into that is where the problem comes in. And I didn't quite understand it at the time.
I think that's actually the hardest thing to teach to people is the visualization aspect of it. Exactly what you're explaining is being able to see what you're going to do so that when you go in and actually do it, you know the moves. You're not just kind of cutting away until something happens. You're hoping for the best, you know? And I think that's exactly it.
It's kind of a good way to explain it. You know, I dig that. Like that's the work.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that, like you said earlier, that's the grind, is to learn that.
Mm-hmm.
And like so many times we see a finished product and we think that there was, you know, you missed the 20 years before that finished product. Right, and it's kind of the same thing. I mean, kind of shrink it down. You know, it's like you're seeing the end product, not the fucked up side Gumbies.
And it's easy to see. It's easy to see something, look at it, and be like, "Well, I could have done that," but would you have done that? Is the real question. Not like,
Sure.
could you? Are you capable of the moves? Sure, you are. But would you have chosen to do it if you were starting from a totally different starting point? And that's really it. Like when you see a thing on a person, like what he's talking about, like you can do that. Like half the battle is figuring out what is going to look best on this human being. You know what I mean?
Right.
What's going to make them feel good.
Right.
So I love that, man. So jumping from like starting cutting Gumby, where did you end up getting into it on a more professional level? Like how did that transition happen?
After that, you know, of course you go to school and kind of stuff like that. So I worked at a grocery store, and I just really been blessed my whole life. I worked at a grocery store, and I had a store manager. And I like to talk shit, so I'm just talking shit to him. Like, hey, I think I can cut your hair. So I worked in the back in the produce department.
Right.
And he was like, okay, well, you bring your clippers tomorrow, and I'll let you work and cut hair.
Were they the clank clippers? Clank, clank,
No,
clank,
at
clank,
that
clank,
time,
clank.
after my mom seen that I had a little bit of some skills, you know, Mom Dukes went out and bought me some nice stuff. You know,
right.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you had support from family then.
Yeah.
You had
My parents was
support.
good. My parents was good. I mean, my parents would let me cut hair in the basement on Saturdays, so I would have the whole neighborhood down there. We watching MTV Raps, Rap City. You know what I'm saying? And I'm down there blazing them for $5. We talking about girls and cutting hair. So it was
proper barbershop at 15.
You ain't
Man,
kidding,
that
man.
sounds cooler than the shop I got now.
Yeah, so it just transitioned like that. So when I worked at the grocery store and I would be in the back in the produce, so I'm on the clock making money, but I'm also making money, you know, because everybody that worked in there would come in the back and get their hair cut. And I was doing this on company time, mind you.
Uh-oh.
But it was all good. I just really been blessed where people have given me a chance, and
So were you cutting a lot of guys' hair at the grocery store?
Yeah, I was cutting employees, managers, for customers. Put this hair back there. You cutting hair back there? And I'd be like, yeah. They'd be like, well, can I come back there? And I'd be like, yeah, come on.
Come on.
That's very forward thinking. Not a lot of grocery stores have a barber on staff. So I mean, I think that's outstanding.
I mean, I look back at it now. That probably wasn't good to have hair flying around where your avocados and your grapes are at. But hey, it worked. It worked, you know.
Some health board issues for sure.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
So did you after that, at that point, did you go to school, or did you?
I went to college. I went to Akron University for 3 years, and flunked out of there from partying and girls. And I was like, man, what do I really want to do? What's really my passion? And I was like, I want to be a barber. And I told my parents I wanted to go to barber school. And my folks was like, well, you already screwed up one time, so we're not paying for school this time. You got to figure it out.
Back to the grocery store.
Well, I went. So what I did, I went to school. I at that time, they were giving out grants and stuff like that. So, of course, I was poor because my parents weren't going to pay. So, hey, I figured it out. And I would go to school from 8 to 5 and then go work at BP service station from 6 to 2 in the morning.
Oi.
It was ugly. It was ugly, but I wanted it.
Right.
I wanted it. And
Man, that's inspiring, though. You know what I mean? But just when we're talking about the hustle and what the hustle looks like, that is what the hustle looks like. You know, you want it, you find a way to go get it. You know what I mean? You make it work.
That's it. So that was barber school that you did that?
Yes, that was barber school. So I got out of barber school, and I worked with a guy for like 3 years. And at that time, I was clicking so good that I was like, I want my own thing.
Right.
I think at that time I was only 22. I was 22 when I opened up my shop.
That's young.
Wow.
Yeah, I was 22.
Good for you. That's amazing. Where was your first shop? Where was your first
In
shop?
Akron. I lived in Akron, Ohio. Yes.
Like, come on, that wasn't easy. Where'd you get the money? And were you working at BP at 2 a.m.?
I'm talking like this was the.
And this is a proper barbershop. This isn't like a basement barbershop.
This is like the late 90s, early 2000s. I was making so much money, man. Back then, when Brubs was wearing like the fades, I would have dudes coming in that was wearing skin tight fades getting haircuts 2 times a day. I mean, 2 times a week. 2 times a week.
Day, I'm like wow.
2 times a week, they would come in and get fades. I think at that time, I probably was making $1,000, $1,200, and I was only like 22, 23 every week.
Wow.
They thought I was selling dope. I had so much money. I mean, like cash, you know what I'm saying? Like real talk. I would just have cash, you know? It was all good.
That's awesome, man.
And
then so you had the cash and you invested that into a barbershop?
Yeah, so I had the cash.
It was a proper barbershop.
Yeah, I had the cash, but I did have a customer. He was an older gentleman. God rest his soul. He passed away of cancer, and I had been cutting him, and he was just a nice guy. And I was telling him that I wanted to do my own shop, and I was like, I have the money. I already bought my chairs, but I got to find a building and some other things. And I think he ended up giving me $4,000.
Oh, word! Wow.
He gave it to me. He believed in me that much.
Oh, amazing!
That's dope, man.
Yeah,
you know,
that is really cool. So, I mean, when you got the money, you got the chairs, like. As a new barber, do you remember what it was like when all of a sudden, like, yeah, you're flush with cash and it's everywhere kind of thing? But we all know, like, as we get older, that like, flush with cash also comes with flush with responsibilities. You know what I mean? And those
22-year-old responsibilities
22
are different.
years old can be very difficult to handle that. Like, how did you handle all that? Like, how was it, you know, how
honestly,
did you get through the other side of that?
I'm going to keep it all 100 with you. I fucked it up the first time around.
Sure.
I would you would make the money that day. I would go to the mall, buy clothes, buy shoes, and I would be like, hey, it doesn't matter because guess what? Tomorrow I'm going to make it right back.
Yeah.
So I would literally spend just about everything I made. And something about the allure of cash, it's hard to keep track of cash. Like, it'll get away from you. I had no money management skills. I mean, and at that time, I was making more than some people's parents was making.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, well, how you going to tell me? I got more money than you.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like it's the biggest cliche in the world right now when you go to barbering stuff or you see the barber culture of it where it's like dudes wearing chains they can't afford, guys, you know, sporting the new kicks and stuff, driving cars that they got a lease on that they can't pay for. And, you know, I feel like the image of barbering has become so central to being a barber these days, you know what I mean? And when you're new and you're making that cash and struggling to catch up, I mean, you can really get behind the 8 ball on that, you know?
It's not hard to do. What you don't realize and what you will learn, if you in business long enough, there are slow periods. There are slow periods. And what happened with me was I ended up getting smacked by the recession. So it was kind of like guys was losing their jobs and stuff like that. So, it's getting a haircut is an elective. It's not a necessity for some people.
Sure.
Paying your gas, paying your electric, paying your mortgage, those are things you have to do.
And Akron was hit pretty hard by that then.
Ohio was smacked hard.
Yeah.
You're talking about industries that's based on manufacturing. It's a blue collar. So where I come from, it's a lot of steel, automobiles, Ford, GM, Chrysler, and
Tires.
Goodyear, Firestone. Yeah. So it was kind of like once that happened, people was like, so guys that were once there, came in every week, they might have turned to every 3 weeks. You're every 2 week guys. You might not have seen them for a couple of months, and guys will go to Walmart, get a clipper, put a guard on, and knock it all down one length and keep it pushing.
Yep.
Right.
So I really took a hit. So I go from here to here, but I never adjusted my finances and my lifestyle. I never lived below my means.
Yeah.
I lived way above my means.
Yeah.
Did you feel pressure to kind of keep up with like Barry from a year ago and the way you were throwing cash a year ago and now you don't have it? Did you feel that pressure that you kind of had to keep up that image?
At that time, yes.
I mean, you're a kid, right?
Yeah, at that time, I cared what people say. I don't give a damn what people say now because ain't nobody gonna pay my bills.
That's right.
So I do what what's within reason. And then I understand that life is about cycles and business has cycles. And then I realize sometimes too, what if I'm walking and I trip and fall and break my femur or something, or break my wrist and I can't work. So those are things as you mature in this game that you learn to do. Then you have to think about, what about when I'm older and my medical and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So those are things sometimes that in school they don't talk to us about, our teachers, about those kind of things like your medical, your savings, what are you going to retire on?
Right.
Those are real things.
Are these, and forgive me for not being a barber at the table, but are these things that the barbers are addressing? Because I know in hairdressing, like
Great big
you're starting to see like more business classes and more business stuff about how to conduct your business and stuff. But that's a void in the barbering.
A
world.
lot of the focus, I feel like, on conducting business is about daily operations of a business, not long-term projection or planning. I mean, even for me, the other day I sat down with my accountant and I was just like, man, we have never really talked about like, what should I be doing here? You know what I mean? I've been doing business 15, 20 years now. And it's like, I've never really had that conversation. And I think it's interesting. What you brought up was so right on point. Even though we talk a lot about how we are in a quasi-recession-proof industry, our clients are not. You know what I mean? And our clients are our industry. You know what I mean? And so when we talk about, I'm never going to get in trouble because we're recession-proof. No, like our clients, the people paying our bills, are not recession-proof.
Sure.
So it hits everyone.
Sure. I mean, we've been very fortunate because we're in D.C. And D.C. is like the last place to kind of get hit with the recession because everybody's a government worker, essentially. Or if they're not a government worker, they're a contract worker. And those jobs don't go away, really. I mean, knock on air wood. You know what I mean?
The people that causing the recession not feeling the recession. That's what he's saying.
Hey.
Yeah, I know.
That's DC.
I know. It's DC. Yeah.
It's DC, man.
But it's true. So now I'm curious though. Like you, when I look through your Instagram and I see you are saturated with a lot of professional athletes, musicians. And can tell me about how you transitioned into that. Like your first client was from 112. You said, and that was music industry.
Yeah.
How do you go from getting one celebrity client to having seemingly like a thick black book of them? How did that happen for you?
Well, Dallas is an athlete town.
Yeah.
So when I got to Dallas, I was just working, and I just tell you, man, I just always been blessed. I had a customer that worked at a Hairdustry furniture store. It's a high-end furniture store. He texted me one day. He said, "Hey, do you know a Bernardo from the Cowboys?" And I'm like, nah, I don't. At that time, I wasn't into sports.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, I don't know him. He says, well, hey, he seen my haircut, and I gave him your information. So he hit me up. Big Mac is what they call him. He hit me up on Facebook. Like, hey, I need a haircut, whatever. So he comes in. So after I get Mac, then another guy named Bruce Carter, the linebacker, contacts me. And then after that, I had almost the whole defense.
Oh,
Anthony
man.
Hitchens.
They're sending their friends, right?
Yeah. So I had almost the whole defense. So before you know it, I was doing a lot of the guys. I would go out to California to camp, and I would actually cut hair out at the camp too. I did that for a couple years. So, and then after that, I started cutting a guy named Alexis Agenza. I met him through Facebook. I just went through Facebook again and private messaged people from the Dallas Mavericks, and he responded back at that time.
That's the hustle.
Just sliding into the DMs all over.
And he started letting me cut his hair, and then man, it was like I just kept grinding with it, and then I got this guy that's my buddy named Wesley Matthews, and I'm crazy about this dude. And man, he would just insist people go see Barry. And before you know it, I had Wes, then I had Steph Curry, then I had Nerlens Noel. Before you know it, boom, 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 I'm working, and then I did Steph Curry.
Oh wow!
And once I did Steph and Curry, my career exploded.
What was that iconoclast, right?
It was like I was home one day and a guy texted me, "Hey, this is Andrew. I'm with Under Armour. I know it's last minute, but we're here shooting a commercial, and we've got Mo Bamba here. We need a barber." So I thought it was one of my customers playing. Right. So I call him. I'm like, "Hey man, don't be playing, man. What the hell?" He's like, "No, Barry, I'm really."
He's like, for real.
I mean, cause my dudes would do that sometimes. So he was like,
how many phone calls he's gonna get after this?
Totally.
So he was like, "No, Barry, this is for real. My name is Andrew. I'm with Under Armour. Your name was given to us." And he was like, "Are you available for a shoot today?" I said, "Let me think about it." Yeah.
Let me check my book.
He was like, "I seen you cut Stephen Curry, and you just came really highly recommended." So I went, and man, it was all good. I went and I got some free stuff, by the way.
Yeah.
Cut Mo Bamba, and I met my man B Dot, and man, it was all good, and it was major.
Oh man, that's
cool.
And at that shoot, I ended up meeting R.J. Hampton.
Oh, unreal.
The kid that just made the historic announcement about going over to Australia.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so I ended up meeting him at that shoot. And that's what people don't understand. Being at the right place at the right time is everything.
Yeah.
Just like me sitting here talking with you guys.
Yeah.
Now we're connected.
I've long said that too. I think really success. A lot of people, when they get to a certain level of what they see as success, try to explain their success by kind of making excuses like I work really hard or I overcame adversity.
Right.
And the truth is that it is those things. But what you just said, I think, sums up exactly what I think is it's the right time, right place, right skill set, willing to do the work. You know what I mean? Saying yes to opportunities and recognizing opportunity. What is an opportunity? Like my question to you is, had those guys phoned you up and offered you that opportunity, would you have done it for free?
If that's what it took to get my foot in the door, yeah. I've done a lot of stuff for free.
Me too.
Yeah, no doubt.
Me too. And I think that's it. That's really what makes that difference. You know what I mean? People look at an opportunity like that and they're like, "Oh, how much do I get paid? How much am I getting paid?" And that's always the first thing that almost
getting paid
always
isn't the opportunity. Right? Like even like the advice that I give a lot of young people, especially coming out of college and stuff, is like there's two ways to get paid, right? There's you get paid with money, or you get paid with experience, and experience always pays off more in the end.
Always.
All facts.
You know.
And sometimes people don't understand that the long term. It's the long term thing, because I might do this today for Matty, and he doesn't pay me, but I got this now that I can put on my resume. I can put these up that I've worked on this guy. I've worked on Matty. I've done this work. And that can't be taken away from you.
And do these guys, do a lot of these like celebrities that you do they come into the shop or do you usually visit them?
My NBA guys, they always want you to come to them.
Right.
You know, a guy that's 6-something, they don't want to come in because they don't want to be harassed.
Of course.
They don't want to be harassed.
I get that.
So how does that change your day? Because I know I have a few clients that I'll go travel to, and they pay considerably more than the clients that come into my shop.
Yeah, you definitely charge them more.
Mostly because the day just gets disrupted so much, and it takes out a massive chunk of day. And people might think, "Oh, that's a very expensive haircut," but really, it's more charging for the time.
Right.
Is that how you how do you manage going from
Because when you break down
place?
your time of travel time, and then you got to set up. And and sometimes when people are in their home, they're a little bit more comfortable. Hey, do you mind if I eat this real quick? Especially guys, if it's game day. I don't mess with my guys when it's game day.
Right.
So if their chef is there cooking for them, I'm gonna wait till they're done eating. You know what I'm saying? And I'll let them eat and stuff like that. And you have to factor all those things in.
Now, when you factor that, do you have an hourly rate that
yes,
you
I
know?
Do have a day rate. Yes,
okay.
I do.
Not like a day rate, but you have an hourly rate.
I don't charge about an hour. I have a fee that
you know
I
how many
charge them.
you know how many haircuts you can do in an hour, and you know what you charge for it.
Well, I charge accordingly to that. I charge what I would miss being in the shop. and then I charge for my travel time, and I charge basically for the convenience.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's the convenience of it.
Absolutely.
And what I'm learning.
So how did you feel the experience, though, differs for you? I mean, for somebody in their home being more comfortable with their surroundings is great, but you're out of your environment, which is your shop, So a lot of people that work remote, I mean, what I rely on in the barbershop is that vibe that's going, the music and the people around me, the things you were talking about that you loved about the barbershop, but you don't have that in your private location. So how do you find those two experiences different for you as a barber?
It's definitely a difference, but a lot of times there's that personal relationship that you have with that person, so you're still chopping it up and talking with them about different things, different events, and you're cutting. Sometimes a game might be on, so you're actually talking about. I was just over at Nerlens Noel's cutting him before I came out here, and Golden State game was on, so we're talking about the game and Kawhi. So yeah, so you end up finding that vibe. Sometimes it can be a little awkward when you don't have a rapport with the person.
Right.
But once that rapport is there, you find that vibe, and you just work off of it.
Do you find that when you're working with some of these guys, you just try and keep things as normal daily life thing as possible? You know what I mean? You just talk about the common interests, things like that, or do you find it hard do you find that there's topics you try and avoid when you're talking with those guys?
So what I've learned is people are people. Some people are talkative, some people are not. So the first 3 minutes, Barry B will keep his mouth shut and work. And if they start asking me a couple questions, I skip the loop, jump on in it, and we get to talking. Sometimes some guys don't like to talk about the team. Some guys don't like to talk about their work. So we talk about fashion or something else, cars. But some guys, they like to talk about what's going on in their work, in their field. I'm like a psychologist. I'm just low budget. So I kind of...
His prices just went up.
Yeah. I mean,
sounds like they should.
So they're not on the couch, but they're in the chair.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? So when they're in the chair, I kind of let them start it and put the direction, and then we just flow with it, and we just go right from there. And it's always a good entertainment. And you learn a lot, too, though. And you learn how they watch an event, a sporting event, and how they watch it from the aspect of being a player versus me as just a spectator.
But that must be pretty cool then, because you're like, oh, yeah. And then you're starting to see defenses and stuff.
I learned a lot of stuff. You learn a lot of stuff about different players, their tendencies, of what they do and why they do it. So it's been, for somebody that had no sports knowledge.
And now you look behind the curtain and you've seen the great and powerful Oz.
That's it. That's so dope.
Yeah, people still laugh at me.
Do you think that it's easier, being that you haven't had a huge, big sports background, being around a bunch of professional athletes and holding your shit together, so to speak? You know what I mean?
Oh, hell yeah, because had I known a lot of these people from the beginning, I'd be like, oh my God, it's so-and-so, it's oh my... Versus now, it's just, hey, yo, what's up, Matty?
Yeah,
you know, what's up, and I just do the work. End of the day, they don't want you coming in there starstruck. They want you to come in there and do your job, and then you leave. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the focus. It's always professionalism. The more professional you are, the more
longer
you're
that
going to keep
relationship's
working.
going to be, right?
Yes. So, I try to be very professional.
What is your advice that you want to give to maybe one of these young barbers might be listening, or one of the young hairstylists who wants to get into that kind of work? What advice can you give to them that might help them along the way?
I'm going to give you some real simple advice. Treat everybody like a superstar. You never know who knows who.
Amen to that.
Boom.
Yeah, succinct and perfect.
Yeah, that was... Dude, give me some. I dig that, man.
All right, so now how do you balance things out? Because it sounds like you got a hectic schedule. You're driving to other people's houses. You're dealing with a lot of professional athletes, but you also have your shop, right? You also work in your shop. And how do you balance those things out with that and your very lovely wife, who we met last night? Like, how do we keep all these plates in the air? You know what I mean? How do you make that happen?
Schedulicity.
Oh yeah.
Online booking.
Get out of here.
For real?
Yeah. Matter of fact, let me shout out Jerry. Let me shout out Michael. Let me shout out the rest of the La Familia there. I'm a brand ambassador for them, but at the same time, I've been with them over 8 years. So I've been with them since they first came on the scene.
Wow.
How'd you find them 8 years ago?
On Facebook.
Did you DM Jerry on Facebook?
On Facebook, and I signed up, and I've been with them ever since. So that's how I'm able to manage my time.
Wow.
And for me, it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It was great.
Time management is hard. It's hard part of what you do.
That's everything, because I can get more money, but I can't get more time. So you know what I mean. So it worked out really good. And
so instead of just like how, like what did you practically do with Schedulicity to free up that time?
Okay, so you can go in and book your own appointment at your time. So I don't have to sit on the phone. Well, what about 2 o'clock? No, 2 o'clock don't work. What about 1:30? Oh, I got to be here at 1:30. So we're sitting there going back and forth for the next 5 minutes, and I'm trying to cut this guy's hair, and I got a notebook pad. I got to keep writing this down, crossing this out, writing this down. It's irritating.
Yeah.
It's irritating. I don't have to do that. You just go right on there. You pick your day. You pick your time. If your wife says, no, you're not going that day, we got to go here, you go right in there yourself and cancel it. You ain't got to call me to cancel it.
Yeah.
You know what's been amazing for my experience with Schedulicity, and I've only been using it since like February now, but what I've noticed is that my pre-books are not my pre-books, but my re-appointments are way up, because I think what happens is that at 11 o'clock at night, people are like, I need an appointment. So then they just go on Schedulicity and they just book it, as opposed to like, oh, I got to wait till the morning till I can call in there. And then by that time, kids happen, life happens, and then literally like a week later, they're like, oh yeah, I got to get that appointment. So like I'm seeing clients that I go, why are you here? Right? Like, cause like normally you're here every 12 weeks. Why are you here at 10? And I've had so many responses where it's been like, well, I can get in now. Right.
Yeah.
Or
this was just the easiest time, man.
Yep.
Yeah. That's actually awesome though. That just streamlining that stuff for clients, that's great. I have no experience with Schedulicity. I've never used it, but the only experience I have is Jerry.
That's enough of an experience.
Oh my God, and what an experience that he is. Absolutely hilarious. He is just such a lovely human being. I mean, he's the real deal. He's very kind and stuff. So I mean, if his company's anything like him, then I'm sure they got a pretty awesome thing going.
Great people, man.
And it's pretty amazing too. I mean, we'll get off the Schedulicity commercial here in a second, but it's pretty amazing too. Like what they're doing with like the Schedulicity Cares. They're giving $5,000 away per month to a barber, to a hairstylist, and to I don't know what they call it, like a beauty professional or something like that. It's just amazing that they're the only company that I can come up with off the top of my head that's really reaching out to the people that are behind the chair.
Yep.
And it's pretty amazing. So, anyways, shout out to them. Boom, boom, boom.
Hey.
Thanks, Bear. So, Bear, dude, what's up in your future, man?
Man, the future for me is I just want to get better and better and better. I don't think I'm ever like.
So when you say better, like what's going through your head? Is that like better barbering skills? Is that being a better businessman?
I want to be a better barber.
Man?
I want to be a better man, a better husband, better dad. I just want to sharpen that skill and take it to that next level. And I think I'm gonna always chase that until the time I hit the dirt. Until I hit the dirt, I want to be exceptional at anything I do. I want to excel at anything I do. That's the thing I try to teach my kids. You're gonna half-ass do it, just don't do it.
Don't do it.
Well, man, I've seen your work, and let me be the first to say that you are definitely doing that with your whole ass. All right, you're not half-assing a thing, man. There's a whole ass on that job. It's impressive, man. Honestly, like
go hard, go home.
You're a very inspiring individual to be around too. One of the things I really like about you is your energy is up. When you were saying earlier about we came from that generation of people that look each other in the eye when we shake our hands. When I met you last night, that was actually my first impression of you, was your handshake, and I remember being like, wow, that man, a solid handshake and a great positive energy. How important is bringing that positive energy to your job? Like, how important is that to your growth, success? Do you attribute some of that to what you've been able to achieve?
I would contribute all of that. You are what you attract. What you put outward is what you're going to get. So I just try to stay on fire, positive, happy. And those are the people that 9 out of 10 times that are attracted to me. And the people that have that negative energy, because it's all about love with me and positiveness, they're gonna turn away from that because they don't want to be a part of that.
They don't. Yeah, that makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's all about love. I mean, listen, fellas, I'm in great health. I woke up this morning. God is good. Everybody I know woke up.
Amen.
Nobody's hungry. Nobody's sick. What I got to complain about?
Yeah.
And I don't even say I go to work. I go do what I love to do and what I'm exceptional at every day. What I got to complain about?
I dig that. All right, I'm going to call you on your bullshit, though.
Do it.
Okay, you get up one Thursday morning and you're just not feeling it, right? What's the mantra? What routine do you get into? Be like, all right, Barry, you got to step up. Because we all have it, right?
Yeah. I just think back to that stuff. I think back to people that I know that work jobs that make a ton of money but hate their job.
Yes.
Preach it,
Like,
man.
for real. And I'd be like, I'm not caught in that. So you shake this shit off, Barry. Get your mind right. And take your ass in there and do
Go
what
to
you're
work.
supposed to do. I talk to myself a lot.
Yeah.
I think, well, I certainly do.
Self-coaching.
Constantly, right?
I'm in the mirror a lot of the time being like, stop being a little bitch already. All right,
Come on,
get your
come on,
jazz up.
Matty. Step up,
No,
man.
for me, I think it was about the way I describe it is I found very early the difference between success and fulfillment. You know what I mean? I've been chasing fulfillment my whole life. I'm not chasing success, or success about other people's ideas of me. Fulfillment's about my ideas of me. You know what I mean? And I think that's a very important thing to pursue. And the funny thing is, if you chase the one, the other will find you on its own. You know what I mean? If you chase fulfillment, you know what I mean, you will find success, but not the other way around. If you chase success, fulfillment is always going to elude you because there's no such thing as successful
It has
enough.
to be your own fulfillment too, right?
Yeah.
It can't be like some like outside force or some kind of what you're supposed to fulfill with, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be here. You got to be fulfilled in your shoes.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
In that vein, has there ever been a moment that has struck you in what you're doing now where it just suddenly erupted on you, like, wow, like, I'm doing this now. Like, look at what I've done. You know, do you take the time to appreciate those things? Is there a moment that stands out to you?
It's sometimes that I'm so humbled that I'm almost brought to tears when I look at what I'm doing now, who I am, how I have evolved as a barber, as a man. And it's one of those moments, if you think about it, you almost come to tears, and you think about your journey of where you started, how you started, what limited things you started with. And you'll be like, man, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, what's even more beautiful is we're not even done yet.
We're in the journey.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Do you have any regrets? Like, is there any advice that you would go back and give to like little Barry starting out?
Little Barry.
Well,
LB.
I'm 47 in August, believe it or not. If 47-year-old Barry could go back and talk to 20-year-old Barry, I would tell him, slow up. Everything comes in time. You're not supposed to have everything right now.
Yep. That's, man, just bombs.
That's it, right?
Yeah, that's the truth right there. That's it.
Yeah,
That's the biggest truth, and I think even today, although I know that you still not chase that, but it finds you, right? And you're like, why isn't this happening? Why isn't that happening? You know, and like, listen, this podcast has happened so quickly for us that it's almost a hard conversation to have, because I don't know, like, I think I get caught up in that. Like, I know it's a long game, but it's happened so quickly for us. Like there's.
The thing is, though, it hasn't. I mean, what you're doing right now has blown up. What you're doing right now is blown. What I'm doing right now is blown up. But I mean, I'm overnight success that was 25 years in the making.
That's
you know
true,
what I mean?
right.
This didn't just show up. And I mean, same with your story. There was a lot leading up to this point until something clicked for us that happened. And it doesn't necessarily need to take 25 years, but all the things that went into that prepared us for that next thing. And just like his time in Akron prepared him for his next thing. And I mean, it's easy to look back on those things and want to have skipped ahead, but I think all three of us are probably glad we didn't. Would you agree with that? Are you glad you didn't?
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely, I really do.
But I also want to warn people with that same thought, though, is that there's still the work. Like, you can't wait, right?
There's
You got to
no
keep
shortcut.
working, right? Because if you're waiting for it, I promise it'll never happen. You know, it's nobody cares about your business. You know, nobody cares about your business but yourself. And if you don't care about your business, then you're waiting.
Now, when you're working with guys like this too, especially, and I've seen your work, it's meticulous, it's beautiful work that you do. Do you find yourself to be a perfectionist?
I'm all about that finish.
Yeah.
I love the finish.
Now, do you feel that being a perfectionist is a benefit or a detriment in barbering, either in a shop or doing what you're doing with athletes?
Like, sometimes my guy Wesley Matthews jokes around and says I'm holding him hostage.
Come on, Barry.
He'd be like, all right, Barry B, you hold me hostage now. I'm ready to get up, you know. But I'm sitting there with the mindset, okay, like, this guy's going to play a game tomorrow. He's on TV.
Dude, high definition is real.
I don't want to be that guy that they're laughing at because of the haircut. So I got to make sure everything is everything. All of it's my
And
client.
all your boys know that that's your haircut.
Exactly.
You feel the weight of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, it's added pressure. But I am a perfectionist, and sometimes it depends on how deep into it you dive. Sometimes you can overdo and mess up a good thing.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
There's been times I'll be like, okay, that looks good enough. The only other person that's going to really make this out of the water is going to be Jesus, and I don't think he's going to pick up this clipper. So let me back away.
I think that's the thing, because good enough evolves for us. It becomes like a level of standard that we're used to. You know what I mean? And that does get better and better and better. But you're right. Like, there's a point where I see a lot of people that pick and pick and pick and pick and pick, and I'm like, that looked better 10 minutes ago than it does now. You know what I mean? And you're right. Like, at one point, you need to know when to walk away.
You got to know when to hold 'em.
Sing it proud.
Know when to fold 'em. Know when to walk away.
And know when to run. Okay, yeah. Is it just because I have a bit of a Kenny Rogers vibe here? Is that why? I've always felt like a young, sexy Santa Claus in a way. You know what I mean? Like, I got that.
I do, particularly on like bloated days.
It's my vibe.
It's my vibe.
It's not working. I still look at Barry. He looks like a professional athlete, for God's sakes.
Fucker at 43, all jacked up and stuff. I'm over here looking all soft.
When you 5'5", you got to have a gimmick.
I can't argue that.
Man.
Yeah, you got to have a gimmick when you're 5'5".
Well, you don't carry as 5'5". I thought you were at least 5'9".
Well, thank you.
Tell people where they can find you on the Instagram, because I've been appreciating your work. I want other people to be able to appreciate it too. So tell people, because you got so many aliases. You know what? We need to cut through the aliases and tell people the direct route to find your work.
That would be the Stars Barber.
The Stars Barber.
The Stars Barber.
And that's Instagram.
That's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Now be careful, because he's likely to slide into your DMs. Apparently, that's how he's getting to work. So might want to keep, if you follow him, might want to keep your own shit private. But
yeah. Barry coming to look for you.
Man,
get out.
Man.
Get out of my
crazy,
DMs.
Man. That's crazy.
Man, that's an awesome story, though, man. That's an awesome story. What's next? What is next for you? Where do you see yourself going 5 years down the road?
5 years down the road?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd be like wanting to have a school, like a barber school, or I like to find that young dude that's hungry, that'll listen. That's the key word, that will listen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I would love to clone a better me.
You want to mentor somebody?
Yeah, I would love to, because you can't take this stuff with us when we leave. We can't take it with us. So somebody shared with me, and I owe that to the person that shared with me to share with someone else.
Well, why are we waiting for a school? I mean, do you have people that work for you, that work under you?
I work by myself. I used to have like 5 barbers, and the thing I found a lot is like the younger, some of them, not all, they want instant gratification. They don't want to work for it. Mm-hmm. They don't want to come to work, but they want money.
They see your success.
I want a Maserati, but I don't want to go to work to put in the work to get it.
I need time to drive my Maserati, man. I bought the Maserati. I need to drive the Maserati.
Yeah, so it was at the age it was kind of frustrating. I just didn't have the patience for it. I'm a go-getter. I don't like excuses. Save that. I don't want to hear them. Excuses don't do shit. Just, I believe in results.
No.
Amen.
I believe in results. Is there any better way to say it?
Honestly, there's about 3 things that are going to be ringing through my head when I walk out of here tonight, and they all came out of this man's mouth.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm impressive.
Very inspiring. You don't need a school. You hang out with him and inspire him all day.
I don't know if I'm ready for Matty's level yet. Matty is on some next level, space shuttle level. He out of here. You know what I mean?
You are too kind. I'm not racking up Steph Curry and any of those guys or anything.
Hey man, you making major moves.
I like my thing.
Major moves.
I think much like yourself, like what you just said. I feel a great weight of the legacy of this thing. And barbering in some aspects has made a big resurgence, for better or for worse. You know what I mean? And if we're going to see this thing stay strong and proud, we're going to create a model that young guys can follow into a place where they can do the work that you and I do with the attitude that you and I do it. Then we need to create that legacy. You know what I mean? We need to mentor that. We need to create that for those kids. They're not going to create it on their own. And so I feel a great weight of responsibility. Barbering, man, when I started barbering, it was like finding myself, like my truest personality. You know what I mean? Everybody's got different things about themselves, but it was the first thing that encompassed everything. You know what I mean? That was really it for me. And I just feel like it was such an incredible gift to be given, and the barbering community has given me gift after gift after gift. I mean, this month being on the cover of that magazine, I don't mind lying to you. I almost like came to tears when I saw that, because I've always felt a little bit on the outside of this thing, but it's just you want to find those ways to give back. You want to find those ways to mentor the next kids and grow that thing and leave a legacy behind you, because you can't take this with you. You're absolutely right, man. I think you nailed that.
Yeah, you can.
That's beautiful, man.
Well, dude, it's been honestly so much fun hanging out with you.
Legit.
I mean, last night, tonight, like you're just
Likewise.
an absolute ray of sunshine in this thing, man. You're the realest in the game.
I love this, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Bear. Well, thanks for hanging out with us.
It was a pleasure. It was an honor. Let me correct myself.
No, the honor was ours.
No.
man.
No. The honor was sitting in front of you two guys, and I've been watching you, and I've been like a crackhead counting it down to
Yes,
when
he
I
has.
was.
Yes, he
I
has.
really have. I really have, like a crackhead counting it down to when I can sit in front of this young man. So it was a pleasure, and
Barry, we appreciate that.
And I'm gracious. Thank you.
Dude, thank you very much. Barry B, the Stars Barber, thank you very, very much for joining us on your day off. Hey, so there it is. Hey, this is a message that we've been trying to bring, I don't know, for the last couple months, actually since we started the podcast. Hey, so if you like the podcast or if you find that it's useful, please leave us a review, a 5-star review on iTunes. Leave us a rating and a review. But if you don't like it, forget about it. Yeah, totally forget about this message. We also want to thank Sarah and Blaine from Pretty Gritty. Sarah and Blaine, they are a band out of Portland, Oregon, and we just want to thank them very much for allowing us to use their song, Pleased to Meet You, on our podcast. That's cool. I think you can find, actually you can find their music on iTunes.
Peace and hair grease.